You're watching Private Matters. I'm Max van Praag. What is intimacy? We help people thrive in their lives through intimacy. Conversations with doctors, with authors, with people from all over the world about healthy relationships, sexuality, intimacy. My guest today is Suzie Heumann, the founder of Tantra.com. Welcome to the show, Suzie.
Hi, Max. It's great to be here. I've been very excited about this, and I'm excited for your show. I've watched several segments, and they're fantastic. I learned a lot from Karista segment, and I got very excited when we figured out that I could be here too. So thank you.
Yes, I love your mission. I love what you did, Tantra.com. You produced a number of videos with your husband. This is the most popular one, Ancient Secrets of Sexual Ecstasy, and books. Here, a book about the Kama Sutra, a beautiful photography book. And you do all kind of things that are...
I do. I'm a blogger and a writer, and I run the business of Tantra.com. We have teachers and workshop listings, and I do a lot of the writing, and I find content from other writers and things like that. So I'm a businesswoman, and I'm a sexuality educator too, with a focus on Tantra and neurobiology. One of the things that's been delicious in the last 17 years that I've run Tantra.com, and even the years before we started, when we were in the Tantra community and we were helping at events and things like that, is that I've watched my friends and well-known Tantra teachers, Margot Anand, Charles and Caroline Muir, Lori Grace, multiple people in the Tantra community and the expanded Tantra community mature. Everyone is moving from sort of the sexual aspects into the embodiment, the consciousness, and everything's growing. Everything's becoming more heart-centered and bigger and more generous. The community's growing, and everyone is becoming wiser. And so, the classic tantras would say you must start with many years of living in the cave, you must say your mantras many times, you must do japa, you must do all your prostrations and your guru. I have watched people go from the deep sexual into the deep consciousness and the deep practices almost exclusively. So it gives me huge hope. It gives my heart and my mind just this, yes, kind of for spirit growing. It's been phenomenal.
Yes.
People say, sex, what can you do with sex? You can do so much with sex. You can grow your spirit and your consciousness and your focus and your presence and your body and your mind. And
it's true. They say that there's nothing that makes a man clean up his house as quickly as the knowing that he's going to have sex that night.
Yes, that's right. You're up, it lifts your mood, you're anticipatory. And so, you're out of balance in a lot of ways. You're keyed up, you're doing it. And this is one of the places that ejaculation mastery can actually help a person who wants to stabilize themselves a little bit more. When you bring consciousness to not ejaculating, and I think men should ejaculate, but I think they should do it consciously and when they choose to.
Yes.
So if you decide to hold on to your ejaculate for maybe a day or so, but you're still making love every day, your attention is going to be like this because your dopamine levels are higher. Everything's keyed up. So you're going to notice women more. You're going to notice those women with swinging their hips more. You're going to notice all kinds of things. You're also going to be more attentive to work and that kind of world. When you do ejaculate, your dopamine levels fall back. Your serotonin levels increase. And this is the calming effect that serotonin has. So if you're already calm, there isn't a lot of impetus to seek out sex, to seek out making love.
That's right.
And so that's the problem with SSRIs. If you can shift your meds a little bit to one of the newer varieties, talk to your doctor, see if you can work with it a little bit. There are varieties that don't cause that.
Does Tantra.com
behavior.
offer any information about this?
Well, two things about that, all about breath. So breath works really well for women to calm them and let go of the anxiety. Deep breathing, relaxing, steady breath. If a woman wants to get herself charged up a little bit, she can do some panting breaths. And that will get her in her body, out of her head, and it will cause more blood flow to go to her genitals very quickly. Men, in a situation like this, typically don't want to breathe fast, because that's going to cause them to ejaculate faster. They can do it initially to get themselves going, though. They can pump themselves up a little bit with it. And that's where it might come in handy for men who are getting older, let's say, and they have a little bit less interest, but they really want to charge their interest. If they did a little bit of faster breath work, some panting breaths, it looks like this. And
Yes.
you do a cycle of only 3 of those. I just did 2, because otherwise you're going to knock yourself out if you're not used to doing it. And you build up to that. That gets the blood flowing,
Yes.
gets you out of your mind and out of your worry, and gets you more in your body.
A lot of people don't know what Tantra is.
Yes, and it's a confusing topic. And there's Tantra and there's Neo-Tantra, classic Tantra, Neo-Tantra. So what I like to tell people about Tantra is that it means weave and weft. So not only on a personal level, but on a family, community, country, the universe, we are weaving ourselves into existence and into our right relationships with everything. So if you look at the word yoga, which means to yoke or to tie to, we have many yogas in our lives. You might practice yoga, you might be a swimmer, you might be a family person and also have children, you have your job. So all those things you try to do your very best at. They are yogas in a sense in your life. We take those things and we move them into what classical Tantra might say is the weaving of those things the very best way they can go together within you so that you can give your gifts away to the world and be part of your community. So Tantra is about taking things to the nth degree, taking them to the edge with consciousness.
Tantra is also about being present, being in the moment, from moment to moment.
Yes, that's right. That's the consciousness. Practices of focus, attention, presence, all that is what we bring to each of those yogas, each of those practices. And of course, as Westerners, all we want to think about is sex. You know, we have a dysfunctional relationship with sex. So the sexual part of Tantra, tantric sex, is what gets everybody excited. Very often in long-term relationships, people will look for new ways to have novelty, and sex positions is one of the number one ways to do it because, you know, they think that's going to give them novelty to keep the excitement in their relationship. And so sex, you know, it's all about sex. But sex is a yoga. And so if we treat it as such, with consciousness, with presence, with attention, with learning, with pushing our boundaries slightly, we are able to come back around to learning much more about ourselves and to blossom and to grow and to take the next step and the next step and the next step.
Beautiful, yeah. You founded Tantra.com, which is a worldwide resource for people about Tantra. You produced a number of videos, including this very popular video, Ancient Secrets of Sexual Ecstasy. You wrote and published The Rules of Love, a book about the Kama Sutra with beautiful photography.
That's my third book.
This is your third book. Mm-hmm. And your mission, so your mission is to educate people.
Yes, yes. And not only to educate, but to have them have the ahas within themselves that causes them to educate themselves. I can't tell you how many times over the last 17 years that I've run Tantra.com and been out in the educational community, people have come back to me and said, oh my goodness, I've had one of these experiences, these out-of-body experiences, these ecstasy experiences. I knew there was something more, some other piece to this, and you have put that together for me. That is what fuels me. That's what gives me shivers and sends love up my spine.
And if you give us a few words about your own journey, how did you get to...
It's been a long one. We took classes with Charles and Caroline Muir many, many years ago. We were personally, my husband and I, we've been together for 33 years.
33 years?
33 years, yes. We were studying the ESO book by the Browers, the husband and wife team that were teaching at Stanford, and it was about extended sexual orgasm. So we had been practicing that and having great success and making love for long periods of time. Then we had a friend that put us together because we were filmmakers with Charles and Caroline Muir. During a week of filming with them, I had a very profound experience one night making love with Michael. And at that point, I had the aha that the little experiences we have with sex, as fantastic as it is, are a drop in the bucket to what is possible. In this body, in this mind, in this soul place, this spirit place that is me. And then in connection with my lover, in relationship to my family and community, it just is like
a ripple effect.
A ripple effect out there. And so that experience taught me that our minds and our bodies are capable of tremendous capacity for pleasure, tremendous capacity for learning how to have that pleasure and to give ourselves permission for it.
And I want to add to that also making peace with the past, making peace with everything that's been difficult or a problem, making peace with yourself, making peace with your partner.
One of the fascinating things that I'm loving these days is neurobiology. And with the advent of the fMRI, we're understanding a lot more about what happens in our body and connected to our brain. We now understand that our brains and bodies are very plastic. That we're now understanding that our brains and bodies are very plastic. And so we can retrain ourselves. We can learn to love more. We can learn to express more oxytocin and connection and trust in our relationships. So if we have come from a background of neglect, abuse, struggles, that is not a given for our future. Absolutely not. And what a wonderful journey to do it in connection with sex and love.
Yes, the sex can be the transformation.
Yes, but consciousness is the vehicle, really.
Do you have any advice or tips for people out there?
Well, I have lots of them, but...
Give us a few.
But for instance, years ago, the old anthropologist, Desmond Morris, classic 70s textbooks and stuff, Desmond Morris did a little side thing where he did a test with 27 couples. Most of the women were not orgasmic. They all made love, this is the 70s, in the missionary position. He took these 27 couples and he simply said to them, come back to me in 4 weeks or so. What I want you to do is try new sex positions. So they come back after the few weeks, and 76% of the women are reporting that they're vaginally orgasmic. It just took somebody giving them permission to play, to mix it up and try something new. So one of the things I like to tell couples or people is my nice little bone lingam here, which is Sanskrit for penis. If you think about the missionary position, there's not much friction involved. Woman's on her back, man's on top of her. What's happening is, if you think of this as the yoni and this is the lingam, you're coming in here. This is the uterus and the vagina and everything is the upper part of my fingers here. There's not a lot of friction. But if they change that position so that he gets up on his knees a little bit, he just has to sit up a little, and she puts her legs on top of his shoulders, Now, his lingam is like this, and
there's a different
different angle of penetration.
Yeah.
And the friction is hitting her G spot up here on the top, and it's going deeper into the anterior areas and above her cervix, which is the other hot spot in the inside, deep inside the vagina, and they're getting much more friction. Now, he has to be able to handle that friction, hence ejaculation mastery practices for him. He has to last longer. But basically, that made all the difference in the world for her experiencing much more pleasure inside her yoni.
Yes, great.
So I think one of the great places for couples to try is to step way backwards and start getting more sensual with themselves. You know, a lot of modern metrosexual, you know, we're kind of like, it's like faster, harder, stronger kind of. Tantra is about subtleness. It's about stepping back into the virtual world of more subtle in many ways.
Slowing down.
Slowing down,
Yes.
deep breathing,
Slowing down.
relaxing into the pleasure and taking your time. So I like to tell couples to start getting more sensual and just step way back and get sensual. So things like rabbit fur, extended touching with your partner. And I like people to practice on themselves a lot too when they're touching. Like I like to wear velvet pants because I sometimes will just rub my thighs. Both my thigh is experiencing it, my brain's experiencing it, my heart and my fingertips. We forget about our own fingertips. So if the giver is touching, they should focus on their own fingertips, because if they do and they get pleasure out of their own fingertips, their partner that's receiving is guaranteed to have a fabulous experience.
Sure.
And,
Sure.
and the giver's getting
Sure.
getting the
So focusing on the fingertips and
focusing on the hands
and
the
everybody
fingertips.
should remember to, when they buy clothes, to really pay attention to the fabric and to the
Yes.
the sensuality,
the naturalness of
Yeah,
it,
something
the
that feels
feel,
good.
Yeah.
Most people are absolutely not concerned about what feels good in terms of clothing and fabrics, but it is very important
Yes.
to bring more sensuality into your life.
Well,
into-
and embody your body. So, you know, so many people kind of live from here up. We live in our brains, our minds, we're going to work,
Head
we're
on a
at
platter.
computers, head on the platter. Where's the body? You know, this body, mind, spirit thing. I mean, they're to be together like this and melded. So we forget about the body, we forget about being sensual. There's an interesting researcher in Scotland named Stuart Brodie, who's doing some off-the-wall research about women and orgasms. One of his first things he did about 4 or 5 years ago is he took a bunch of sexology professors, he had them watch 20 of the university women walking from behind, watch them walking. And then he asked them, these are sexologists, to fill out a questionnaire about these women. Do you think she's vaginally orgasmic? Not clitorally, but vaginally. Do you think this? Do you think that? Those sexologists, without knowing anything about that woman except watching how she walked, 80% of them got it right whether she was vaginally orgasmic or not. The key is swinging your hips. A loose, comfortable, in your body, embodied walk was the clue to a woman who's relaxed, she's not anxious, she's self-assured. So I tell women, take a belly dance class.
Yes.
You know, practice some pelvic tilts with breathing. Accentuate your walk when you're out on a walk with yourself. Feel good. Throw your shoulders back, stick your chest out, and swing those hips. You are more likely to be lubricating your pelvic floor.
Wow. And then advice from Mantak Chia: women, massage your breasts. Sitting in a
Yes.
cubicle in the office, go to the toilet and take 5 minutes to massage your breasts. Men, massage your testicles.
Yes.
It sounds maybe strange, but that's very, very good for your sexual power and for your connection to your body, to massage the testicles.
Yes, it's really excellent. I love doing Montauk Chia's breast practice. I love it. And it's another thing about feeling erotically empowered in yourself. Women tend to cut themselves off, very often. I like to look at orgasm on a scale for women of 1 to 10, and at around 7 or 8, they sometimes stop breathing. And what that'll do is it's not getting oxygen and nitric oxide to the genitals, which is the charge and the turn on, the blood flow. So they fall back. They fall away from that position. They go maybe down to 3 or 4. Then they have to work to get themselves back, and then they stop breathing again. So they have this repeated cycle where they don't ever quite get to orgasm. So if they practice by themselves, deep breathing, relaxing, maybe doing self-pleasuring, powering through with the breathing, being mindful and remembering to breathe, they can learn to carry themselves through and have even stronger, more powerful orgasms when they do. Montauk Chia also has brought us the Jade Egg practice, or reminders of doing your Kegels.
Explain that.
It is probably the most important thing. Men too, it's very good for men, but women, it's probably the most important thing you can do for yourself.
Explain, nobody understands the Kegel thing.
Well, they were, women who have had babies, there's, you're told to do your Kegels, but basically it's the bandhas where you're tightening the levels of your pelvic floor, and there are many layers of muscles there. So you're learning to tighten them. I recommend getting up to 200 a day. You can do a series of 10 to 20 short ones, slow building ones, like you're building up a ladder and letting go down a ladder when you're good at it, but those will be hard at first. But what that does is it strengthens your pelvic floor, all the reasons we're told, incontinence and all that. But what it does is it heightens your sexual pleasure. It reminds women of their arousal levels. They get aroused faster. It thickens the walls of the pelvic floor, all the musculature. And when you thicken those walls, you can grip the penis or lingam harder. Your vaginal walls are tighter. But the biggest thing is it plumps the G-spot up, because the musculature has gotten so much more in shape. It thickens, and the G-spot pushes out, the G-spot area, the tissue pushes out a little bit more, so it's more accessible inside the yoni. And I can't say enough good things about women doing their PC muscles, exercises, or Kegels. You can look at a Montauk Chia book. You can go online. There's lots of really good, simple lessons. I had the occasion to have a sonogram a couple of years ago, just 2 years ago in the hospital, and the doc that was doing it kind of went like this. He was down in this region, and I went, "Oh, what's up?" He goes, "Well, I can't say anything. You have to wait and talk to your doctor." I said, "Come on, I'm thinking he's just caught early cancer and he saved my life. That's what's going through my head." He goes, "Your uterus," I'm 61. This was 2 years ago. He goes, "Your uterus looks like it's 35 years old." And he said, "Have you had kids?" And I said, "Yeah, 3 grown kids." And he said, "What's up?" And I said, I've been doing my Kegels for 25 years. And I did one, and he jumped back. My whole pelvic floor went up. My uterus tightened, everything went up. My pelvic floor, my uterus, everything is in A1 shape because I've taken 6 minutes a day to do my Kegels.
Montauk Chia is a Taoist master who has been really well known in the West for many, many years, for more than 20 years, in helping people to own their own sexual energy, to build it up, and to actually use it for healing and transformation. And so, as Suzie just explained about what the woman is supposed to do, contracting the PC muscles and the vaginal muscles, and it generates sexual energy that you can then use throughout your whole body. For the men, it is the same. He teaches men to control their ejaculation, the power lock exercise. You, by preference standing up, you get yourself in an aroused state, and you go almost to the point of ejaculation, and then you stop. And you breathe, and you clamp your fists, and you pull up the energy and use it throughout your entire system. And then you relax, and you don't ejaculate, and you build it up again. and you build it up again. And you, in this way, especially for men who have premature ejaculation, this is a very good practice to do by yourself. And then when you get together with your lover, you are able to control it, and you are able to make love for hours. You can make love for hours, and your lovemaking is no longer goal-oriented. It is no longer about getting off, using your partner to get off. You are your own source sexually, and you exchange the energy with your partner. So there's this beautiful energetic dance when you get together with your partner. What can people find on Tantra.com?
There's lots of information. There's hundreds of articles. There's free videos. We have a membership area. It's a pay membership area. It's not very expensive. You know, you have full access to 28 hours of videos that are actually on the market, but there they are, all right there. There's e-courses, e-books, ejaculation mastery books, Kegel exercise e-courses, all kinds of
links
materials.
To other tantric resources.
Lots of links to other tantric resources. Lots of audio you can download. There's hours of podcasts and audio you can download to just listen to on the go.
And there's a section with workshops and classes that are being taught.
We have teachers. We have workshops all over the world.
All over the world.
All over the world, and workshops for people, accessible to them. There is a lot of content there.
And people can find you through the website.
They can. I'm a blogger also, sometimes at Huffington Post, but typically on the, we have a tantra.org also, so the .org and the .com. The .org is where most of my blogs are. And there's, again, links and resources to other people, and it is a rich, lifelong exploration.
And people can find this excellent video. I love this video. I've watched it many times over the last 10 years. It has interviews with some of the prominent tantric teachers, sexuality educators.
It's explicit.
Wonderful, very explicit, with educational, with practices, well produced. A wonderful video if you don't know it.
Thank you.
Ancient Secrets of Sexual Ecstasy. And Suzie, I compliment you on your work. Creating that resource is a fantastic job that you did, and I'm really proud to have you on Private Matters today, and to sit with you and to know you, and hopefully to work together for a long time on helping people become more aware and use those resources and experience more pleasure and more happiness in their lives, in their sex lives.
Thank you, Max. I feel so blessed to have actually found the thing I was meant to do in life. I mean, maybe we all have a couple of things or a few things, but I have been so profoundly in gratitude because I've been able to do this work, because I've been able to have Tantra.com. I can't tell you what a pleasure it's been and a passion for me, and it goes on. Thank you for having me on your show.
You're welcome. Yes. This was Private Matters. Here we explore what intimacy is, and we help people thrive in their lives through intimacy. Keep watching us. We'll be back with more different dialogues, different topics every time. Thank you for watching Private Matters. I'm MaxVanPraag. See you next time.
Saudades, minha terra, São Nicolau. Saudades, minha terra, São Nicolau.